So now we have here the Framon 2. Now we have the Framon 2 that we had some issues with extra play in the X and the Y. I mean the X and the Z axis. And so this is, Framon #1. I mean, they're one of the greatest hand code machines that has ever been made. I bought this used off of eBay, and so I got it full bore knowing that, well, it looked clean. It didn't show any major damage or anything, and the guy said it worked as it should. Now, you hear that all the time, but so what we've done is I got the machine, and it had, you could take your hand and rock about nearly 40 thousandths at the cutter on this block. This is the carriage. This is the U block. We'll look at this. This is the U block. This is the carriage. And so I had some play this way, just a little bit this way. You can actually feel, I don't know, you may even see it if you can magnify it on your, but there's got a little bit of ridge there. These are 3/8 guide pins, 3/8 on the carriage, and 7/16 pins on the U block that holds it for the Z axis, running in and out. It does have a spring here that puts pressure, keeps pressure when you do the cut. It keeps pressure back on that. So basically, all you'd have to do is, with this spring is, and there should be any reason that you'd have to really push into a key anyway. So my question was, I called Framon, and you can buy a few things for this machine. You can buy, of course, buy the wheels and the belts. They'll sell you the spacing blocks for it, but that's pretty much it. So they got a policy. They don't sell parts to the public. They don't even sell parts to a locksmith. And so we went round and round. I said, all I need is these 4 pins, if you could do it. And they wouldn't do it. So I'm a machinist. And so I went in and I said, well, I'm going to try something temporarily. So what I'm going to end up doing is buying some rod, steel rod, and I'm going to cut it down. Of course, do a blueprint of it and cut it down, cut the little grooves for the clips and all that for the snap rings, and just put new pins in it myself. And so, this is not knocking on Framon. I mean, they got an excellent product, but it just surprised me that they list these pins, and they got a parts description list, but they won't sell you the parts. So my beef is, if you're going to post a part number, if you're going to post a part, at least if you find out, if you want to quiz somebody if they're knowledgeable enough to do the repair themselves or attempt it, I can already see where some people would be knocked out is be able to reset up the machine and make it true, where it's cutting true. So I'm going to show you what I did. I did in this process to make it to where there's the least bit of disturbance of the factory settings that could be possible, that I could possibly retain on this. For one thing, I've bolted all this down, left these components, this guide for the slide for the U block, I left this side on, okay? And so this is going to be in my alignment for the Z axis. Now, X axis, I've not messed with these pins yet, so we're good there. When we change these out, of course, I'm going to blueprint these and make these. They're just simple 5/16 metal pins, and I'll take and harden those just to surface harden them a little bit, and then we'll use them. Now, the one thing that I ran into was this spring that keeps tension on the carriage. I took and removed it by the pin by collapsing this spring to where I could pull the pin out. Now, it's got some small I-ring snap rings, OD snap rings, that hold those pins in. There's two, one on the inner side, one on the outer side. There's two pins on the Z-axis, and there's two pins on guiding pins on the X-axis. So we're going to just do the Z-axis today and get it back together. I'd also, while I had it apart, you know, it was rough. When I've already had it working and trying it out. One of the spindle bearings were bad, and so I went on and purchased 2 new bearings for that. Disassembled the spindle, and I'm going to show you a few little things about it. And of course, this is the spindle, and one of the bearings I've already pressed on, and you can do this very simple. I mean, I've got them. I've got machines shop tooling, presses and all that, but I've done this with a simple 6-inch C-clamp and some spacers, and that's what I use to press these bearings and the spindle back apart and in. So we're going to do the pins first. I'm going to lubricate this stuff. Now, this machine, of course, is a very old machine, but man, they hold up good. And so you see the guy on there dropping it on the concrete floor from Framon a couple of times, and then cutting a key and it working. You know, it kind of reminds me of 1985 or 6. They came out with the Buick LeSabre front wheel drive with the big hot rod turbocharged or supercharged V6, and had it out on the test pad, GM test pad, doing donuts, and then doing back and forth burnouts, neutral drive, reverse, neutral drive, reverse, reverse, neutral drive, just burning back and forth. That's what it kind of reminds me. You know, you don't want to push your karma, so to speak, on doing something like that. I'm not going to take this machine and drop it. I mean, I've used one of these machines for years, and I love these machines. And this one, of course, is a used one. The guy wasn't totally up front. It had not been lubed. They had blown it off and sent it to me. And so, but I'm not complaining one bit, because I love fixing old machinery. But so now let's get into showing you the pins and the guidance on it. So we'll do this one first, and I'll show you what I did. Okay, this is one of the pins, and it's pretty simple stuff. It's just a steel pin. Got these 2 grooves for these little snap rings in it, and what I did, I don't know, it kind of looks a little off stained. That is knurling. What I did, this had about 7/10 in the saddle here was worn, and that's where the major play was coming from that. And so what I did is I took and fine double knurled a fine knurl, and took and ground that back down with a 2-post grinder on the lathe, and then I polished it with 2500 sandpaper to get it smooth. I mean, you can feel a surface on it, but it's not going to dig. If anything, it'll hold oil. And so that's one thing that was lacking on this machine, is the former owner never oiled it. Never oiled it. I mean, well, it may have been oiled at some time in its life, but there's someone in the last period of time used it without oil. So Might help if we take the cap off, huh? Okay, there's that pin oil. Now that we got the cap off, we can oil this. Okay, and what we'll do is when we go back together with this thing, we'll take and wipe the excess oil off. Okay, so now we've got a clip to put in, and what we'll do is we will, now these little snap ring pliers here I bought for my transmission work, and some of the solenoids that have to disassemble some valving. And these are cheap. These were bought at Tractor Supply. I think it was less than $10 many years ago. So what we'll do is we will, Lord willing, we will get this snap ring started. Just like that. Well, I got it on there. Well, what about that? Okay, so now when we'll take and put number 2 on. Now these ends on this snap ring pliers, I had to make them kind of special. So okay, so now we'll push this in while we slide the snap ring up, and we work this back. I'm trying to get this to where y'all can see this. It should be it. Okay, that one's in. Now let's pull the second one out. And we will do the same to it. And you can see the knurling process. It's just a very fine knurl. It's not less than 1,000, so, and it's ground back down concentric, but it's not going to last forever. So what we'll do is we'll put in some new pins. We'll make them. Yeah, I just kind of wish them guys had worked with me, and they could have made a little bit of money on it. I see on the wall all the machines that people, you know, they tried to get me, say, well, send it in, freight paid, and we'll repair it and bill you and pay for the repair and send it back. And I'm like, well, that's not exactly what I want to do. Okay, so now we want to do this again with these 2 pins. We'll make that one outside here. But hopefully they won't fuss at me too much. I mean, they're great guys, and like I say, you know, they've got some great equipment too. So. Okay, now we'll push that in. We'll get our second one ready. Okay. Slide that home. Okay. Now we're there. Now we've got both cross slides, guide pins in. What we'll do is we'll take and nip these dudes. All right, now as far as disassembling on the rest of this carriage, it wouldn't be that much trouble. All you got is this tensioning screw and pin for the cross slide, and the adjustment screw, and then you pull this off, pull this off, pull your screw out, and pull these two carriage guide pins out, and the rest of it's apart. So it's pretty simple piece of machinery for as me as a machinist. Here's the ways down here. We're going to get into that. We're going to look at hooking all that back up and giving some oil to it. And as soon as we do that, then we'll put the spindle back together. And I'll show you my simple way of pressing all that back together here on the bench. So, and you know, that anybody could do. So, but they're pretty cool old piece of machinery. So now, what we want to do is we want to put a drop of oil here, here, and here. Now on the guide part of the guides there, the ways, I'll call it the ways, we want to do the same thing here. Yes, and the same thing on this side. And the same thing on this. Pretty much can't get it wrong. Now I will want to note, now I cleaned all this. I did not clean the paint off the original paint off this, because believe it or not, if I cleaned that paint off and clamped that down, that would have a tendency to maybe make it out of a line. I'll just say it that way. So, okay, we got that. And then we got the spring. We want to spring here. It's got a hole. It's got a hole right here. I'm trying to do this to where you can. It's there. And then we'll hook it on here. And then we'll put our ways on there. And let's put us one screw back here. So now, with me doing it the way I'm doing it, I'm not really disturbing the machining characteristics of this piece of equipment, so, or at least I would think so. And all I'm going to do is snug these two outer ones up, and the handle and transverse handle goes on. Okay. We'll back that off just a little bit. Now I may edit the time on this, or I may not, I don't know. But, okay. Got that one snug down. Then we've got this other screw over here to put in. Because you don't want it shifting. You want it tight. I mean, that's pretty good. Now these right here, these plates are hardened. Just like on your lathe. And they're very tight. They're, I mean, after all these years of service, I mean, it's still tight, so. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to put this, we want to give a little bit of oil right here to this bushing. Now I would say, you know, as far as major oiling or anything, you don't want to over oil one of these machines, because you don't want it, the oil attracting a lot of chips in bad places. So here's what we're going to do. Okay. Now, this is the only thing I had a little bit of trouble. I've got arthritis a little bit. Is getting this to drop where it needs to drop. but we want to leave that loose. Now this is the one that, okay. We'll put a little pressure on it. And just really snug. I want nothing tight right at the moment, not yet. All right, let's try it out together. Okay, tighten it up just a little bit more. Okay, let's do this one the same way. Good. Okay. Okay. Now, what we want to do, we want to put a drop of oil here. And right here. Okay. And that should be enough to last a long time. Now for time's sake, I've already oiled this one. So when I had it upside down. Now for the, well, we could put the roll block back in, I guess. Change out this block. Okay. Now, as far as I can tell, if I've left this in and not disturbed that, it should be dialed in. We'll dial it in here in just a few minutes. But now this is the holds the cutter wheel and the first bearing. Now this spacer that goes in here between the bearings is offset. You got a narrow and a wide. It's narrow and wide, okay. Now the bearing sits close to the outside on the cutter side, and it sets in on this side for the collar, which I hope I can find the collar, but anyway, that's where that goes. So what we'll do is put this dude in. It's got also it's got a screw, a set screw that goes in the inside here, up from the bottom, that holds this stationary. Okay. All right, now let's put this in. It's just a regular old flathead screw. Tighten that up. Okay. Now, where's this dude? That's the one side. And you can buy these little bearings. Pretty simple. Half by 3/8 by 1 1/8 bearing. All right. So here comes the simple press. Okay, there's that much. Should let us know when we get bottomed out. Oh yeah, in place. Okay, now for Okay, this collar goes on. Okay. That's for the end play. Just make sure it's tight against the inner bearing race. Okay. We want to make sure it's snug. And then the pulley. You want this to be tight, not overly tight. But you want it to be tight. Okay. Now, brown cow. Oh, that's so much wider. Okay. So we know the motor runs. Now let's put on the guards back on. I've got to get a belt. We got to make a belt. I'm gonna make a belt. Back when I was a kid, I was being groomed by my dad and grandfather for cotton mill. That's all they did was run around, set up cotton mills all their life. And I was invited along the way. When I was went to work in a cotton mill when I was 16, turning wrenches, fixing winders and spinning machines, fixing them old lathe belts and restapling and putting cat gut, making belts. And so I'm pretty much accustomed to making them polyurethane belts. Even back way then, that's not something new. They've been around for a long time. Okay, and so we're just gonna, for time's sake, we're just gonna put this guard on. Discard the old bearings. And we got this guard after the cutter goes on. And I've already tried. Well, of course, I'm not going to get into that, but you know how that goes. And so, tip stops. I was going to cut a slate key. We'll do that later. Now you see the pretty much what all I did was basically just reassembled it in a way that you could do that. I could take a dial indicator, I guess. Put a dial indicator on it and make sure that the run out's good. But my main interest in right here was the most of it's gone. But you see that spring I was telling you about, that's down here, that keeps pressure on it. There is a lot of wear on these pins, a little bit of wear on the x-axis on the carriage, a little bit, but not as much as I guess these get used a little more. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I guess we can put that little cover back on for the cutter wheel. And I'll give you a glance at what I just purchased. Another, getting ready to get into automotive. Pretty heavy. I've done a few keys, automotive keys, but there's a lot of equipment. Well, there's a lot of expense. Good gracious. I mean, there's a lot of expense. I mean, it's more than just picking up a KM100 and going at it. I'll just say that. I've collected I've got a KM100, I've got a Key Tool Pack Max Pro, and I've got a IM508 that's not been updated. I've got a Auto Pro Pad G2 Turbo. That's a killer machine. Now also I've got what was it, that iTech 580 or 820. iKey 820. And so we're collecting up key blanks and different things, and getting ready to march off into the automotive end, because I've been an automotive guy all my life, and I enjoy automotive. A lot of people don't, but I do. Doing the home keys and the commercial latches and all that, that's cool. But I think my money's going to be in the automotive. So, but anyway, let me sit down here and we'll get refocused just for a minute. All I can say is until next week, may God bless you is my prayer, and I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember to like, subscribe, and make a comment, whatever. If you think I've done wrong, let me know. But I didn't go drill deep into the disassembly and reassembly, and I'm not knocking Framon at all. Framon is Framon 2 is a very good piece of equipment, and I hope I stand behind them 100%. But Lord bless you. Bye-bye.